you may have shared our class yesterday about our Colette trip coming up. If anybody is interested in doing that, they are more than welcome to sign up for it. And we'll just have to coordinate pickup times and all that from the different locations. So
and they'll be registering under LifeQuest. So
That's
they may be confused. What's LifeQuest? So
no, I've been telling them about y'all. I don't think they'll be confused.
Okay.
I tell them that LifeQuest is a Shepherd Center on steroids.
Oh.
A lot of steroids.
Helen, if you don't know, LifeQuest actually was founded back in 1981 as Shepherd Center of Little Rock. So we changed our name in 2003 to LifeQuest because we focused more on the educational piece component of Shepherd Center. And so anyway, we wanted to focus more on a lifelong learning. So anyway, that's how we got our name LifeQuest, but we are still under that umbrella of Shepherd Center of America. So it's kind of fun to be able to partner with other Shepherd Center and continue our mission, for lifelong learning.
It's kind of weird though, if you think about it, because it's kind of like if you had a Subway and you bought a Subway license, like the restaurant, but then you specialized in cookies, which was just this weird niche, but you got really good at cookies and people only came to your place for cookies, while all the other Subways are still selling sandwiches and all the other stuff. And we're just like, we just do cookies now. That's all we do.
That's
but
exactly
we're
like
awesome.
I love cookies.
I don't know. I like cookies too.
That's a good analogy.
I'm hungry. It's lunchtime for us here.
Yeah, we've been snacking this morning.
Computer comfort, we still did that even, we still do one-on-one a little with computer help, but not much. All right, since it's now on the hour, I'm going to share my screen.
I'm going to say one thing. I am watching on Facebook. And so if any of our members are participants this morning or on the LifeQuest of Arkansas Facebook page watching, you can type your question in the comment. And even though you can't say it, I'll be reading those out loud to Gina throughout today. So I know we have some folks watching there.
Awesome. So I'm Gina Bridges, LifeQuest Program Coordinator. I gave a little presentation last week and it seemed to go well, and there seemed to be still a lot of questions. And so I just thought we would kind of run over real quick what I talked about last week. Let me go back if I can. So I did a real basic review of what is Facebook, how do you create an account, either anonymous account or your own just out there account. What do the various icons on Facebook mean at the top of the menu and on the side? How do you want to use Facebook? There's lots of different things you can use it for. How can you use Facebook? There's lots of things they want you to use it for. And I did a few bonus kind of lessons. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of things I might have missed or something that I didn't explain very well. When you create an account on Facebook, they give you what is called a news feed. If you hit the little home icon, it's not going to take you to your personal page. It's going to take you to your news feed. And what that is a collection of posts and shared items from friends that you've made or pages that you've liked or groups that you've joined and advertisements. And so that is what's going to be on your news feed. And it can be out of order or it can be chronological depending upon if you click the recent post, then it's chronological. Otherwise, they just kind of have their own algorithm of what they're going to put there for you to see. When you interact on Facebook, if you say, for instance, today, it's important for me to know what's on Shepherd Center in Florida. What's on their page? What are they doing? And so I do a little search for that and I pull up their page and I like a lot of their posts. Then the next time I go into Facebook, some of their posts are automatically going to be in my news feed, but I can also control to an extent how much gets pushed on there with notifications. So you can opt out to hide or see more things from Facebook profiles, pages, and groups. I also didn't touch on stories. When you log on to Facebook, either on your phone or on a desktop, above your news feed is a little strip, horizontal strip of faces or icons from businesses or whatever that are stories. Stories are things that people have shared that are only visible for 24 hours. So some people, when they share a photo, they'll share it to their news feed and to stories. But if you only share it to your stories, after 24 hours, nobody else is going to have access to it. So for something that I would find that beneficial if, like I live in Central Arkansas, and today we have bad weather. So if I was looking at a news channel that's local and I wanted to share, hey, everybody who lives in my area, you might want a heads up that the weather's getting bad, I might share that to my story. Then it's only up there for 24 hours and then it goes away. And I'm not going to be reminded of it next year that I shared bad weather today. If you want to look at an archive of what you have shared, you can go to your personal page and look at an archive of it, but nobody else can see it. So nobody else sees what I shared. Some people just automatically do both because it's kind of like two programs in one. Sometimes people just go through the stories, and then sometimes people only go through their news feed. So if you're not sure where people are looking, you can post it to both places. So I spoke a little bit about notifications, and I'm just going to go over that for a second. The bell will give you little numbers if you have notifications, or the group icon will give you little notification numbers. It's different activity that happens, and there's a way you can check your settings. There's 3 dots on the end, like we looked at for privacy last week. There's also an area for notifications. You can turn those on or off for specific people. They have 3 different types of notifications on Facebook. They have push notifications, which are related to the little bell icon. They have email notifications, so they'll actually send you notices to your email. And that can be anywhere from someone has requested to be a friend, someone's made a comment on your page, someone is trying to contact you. And there's also SMS notifications. Those are notifications that go to your phone. So if you've registered with your phone number or you've given Facebook your phone, SMS is a shortcut code for phone. So if you have Facebook on your phone and you have SMS alerts turned on your phone and you have notifications, your phone might just ding all day long. So if you want to, you can turn those off by going to the settings. You can turn off the email notifications by going to your settings. Push notifications sometimes will even show up in your browser window, even if you're on a different page. That's dependent upon your browser you're using and how you have it set up. There was a whole documentary last year, The Social Network, and it talked about how disruptive these notifications are and how they can shorten your attention span because your phone is constantly alerting you to Twitter and to Facebook. And it was a good little documentary. It had these little cartoon guys in a brain, and they were saying, oh, she's not on Facebook. Let's hurry and send her a request from this app to go look at it so that she gets back on Facebook, because the more she's on Facebook, the more our advertisers can send her ads. And then Twitter's over there competing, going, wait, no, don't get on Facebook. Let's get on Twitter and do it over here. Some people leave all their applications with their notifications turned on, and they just like to know what's going on. I personally have my phone totally silenced from like 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. So there's a big window where I don't even get text messages from people except the like few favorites that I have. Because in my viewpoint, these are apps that I want to use, not let them use me. I don't want them to dictate my time and how I spend my time. I want to be in charge of when I get on and when I look at these applications. So notifications is a way you can manage that. Other applications have notifications as well. I recommend you go through your phone or your computer, once a year and twice a year, however often, if you just start to seem like, you get bothered with them a lot. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I didn't touch on last week is on the left column, underneath the list of all those icons we talked about last week. If you have liked groups or pages, they have this little section called your shortcuts. And I'll show you what that looks like in a real page in a second on the real live Facebook page. But I wanted you to know that there's a word edit by it, and you can edit what shortcuts show up. So if every day you get on Facebook and you know that you're going to check on LifeQuest or the Shepherd Center, I have family members that I like to keep in touch with. And so I might pin my favorite groups up to the top. Otherwise, it's going to sort them automatically, and it's going to start rearranging them depending on how often you interact with that page or that group. This isn't for people. This is just for pages and groups. So you can hide them completely, sort them, let Facebook sort them automatically, or pin them to the top. And I think the default is that you see 5. And so whatever 5 you have pinned to the top are what you're going to see most of the time. And so this is my time for questions. And so I'm going to stop share on that computer, and I'm going to start sharing on my computer here because I'm at home today. And lo and behold, I already have it on Facebook. So this is the news feed that we talked about. This is my personal page. Over here on the side is the icons that we spoke about last week. Right underneath that is the shortcuts. And as I showed you just a second ago, you just click edit. It gives you a pop-up window. And like I mentioned before, you can find groups for anything. Modern houses. There's always something positive. That's just like a positivity group. Just family groups, church groups, TV show groups, just eTapestry, because that's a group I belong to, since that's our database we use. There's all sorts. So at this time, if you all have any questions, just go ahead and feel free to unmute yourself, or Leah can call on people if she sees your hand raised.
I'm kind of curious if you have a Rob Lowe fan club group. I kept seeing Rob Lowe pop up.
I'm not in Rob Lowe fan group, but I bet there is one.
I'm just teasing you.
It may be a mutual friend I have or something.
Yeah, I saw that post.
Guess what? There are.
Of course.
Some of them. Oh, and look, this says it has 10 posts on average per week.
Okay.
It has 249 members. It's a private group. That tells me that when I join, someone is probably going to have to admit me. It's not a public group that I can just join for the fun of it.
So that's like our LifeQuest groups that we have every term.
Mm-hmm.
Like our spring term, you'll have another Facebook group to join, and that you have to have an administrator admit you. So will that show up under shortcuts over here to the left?
If I choose to.
How do you make it show up? How did you make that show? Edit. Okay.
So if I edit that.
Let's just pick another one.
Well, here is the spring. Because I'm already a member of the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can say I want to pin it to the top.
Okay.
And then I might pick the winter to just sort automatically and just leave it alone.
So all of these groups
are
groups that you are all these groups that you are a part of that you've joined already?
Yes.
Okay. So you can decide which ones show up at the top of your list. Awesome.
Exactly.
All right.
It's kind of like a quick bookmark.
Gina, will you delete LifeQuest Winter when spring comes up?
Before April 1st, or actually probably on April 1st or whenever that is around the weekend, we'll do the same thing we did last term, because we did have a fall 20 one group. And what we did was
Okay.
we deleted everyone out of it and then closed the group. So since April 1st is the cutoff for watching the recordings, we'll kick everybody out of the group and delete the group, and the group will no longer exist. And then if you want to see recordings from that point on, you'll need to join our library access.
Right.
So just to clarify for our Shepherd Center guests, we have our public page that anybody can see, and that's what we're on today. And then for each term of our classes, we have a separate group that is only joinable if you're a paid and registered member of that term. So if you're paid, you need to join that group so that you can see the recordings of our classes that are on Facebook for that term. That's what I just want to clear that up in case there was.
Yeah.
What's
We have
that?
a public persona and a private persona. So we have to have different pages and groups. Okay, I'm here for your questions. That's all I lectured on. That was it. I just want to know what you want to know. What can I help you with?
Christy asks, is the first session of this class on your Facebook page? And it is. If you scroll through our live, in fact, let's find it, Gina. See if we
I'm
can.
on there. This
Okay.
is the class we're doing right now, and it's live, and there are 2 people on Facebook. Hey, Facebook, shout.
That's
Woo, woo.
Emily. Say hi to Emily.
Hey, Emily. This is our presentation we did about Colette and travel. This is an announcement about a vaccine thing we have coming up. And let's see, we had a clinic with the local newspaper to show them how to use their iPads. And then here is Facebook 101. And so this is the basic video that we did last week that talks about how to create an account and do those things that I reviewed earlier. Here's the share button. So if you want to share it, it's just giving me a small window now, but I can click here and say more options. I can share to a group, share to a page. It's even saying, do I want to share it on Twitter, in WhatsApp? I don't have WhatsApp. I don't know why it gives me that. That's okay. Do I want to copy the link and email it? There's lots of different ways to do that.
And I wanted to direct Christy and John's attention, and everyone else too. We have an upcoming event April 14th. If you'll show the vaccine hesitancy, this is our national speaker that will be broadcast to Shepherd Centers all over the country, sponsored by Shepherd Center of America, LifeQuest of Arkansas, and the Public Good Projects. And he is the CEO of that nonprofit. And their mission is to combat misinformation on social media about public health issues. So they're focusing on vaccines for COVID-19, but they also do all kinds of public health information and about the messaging around those, and kind of combating misinformation. So he's a very popular, dynamic speaker that one of our board members has heard and requested we get. It's taken a while for us to get him, but we're really looking forward to hearing Dr. Joe Smizer on April 14th. So feel free to share with your members. It's free and open to the public.
Thank you.
Hi, John. What's your question?
How do I, a recording from Zoom, how do I move it to Facebook?
If you have a recording somewhere else, let's see.
Can I
Specifically
actually do
from
this?
Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say from Zoom, if you go to recordings, I do have some. I can look at this recording, and what we tend to do is we will download it, upload it to YouTube so that it can stay there permanently. So once we download it from here, we take it to YouTube. And then when it's on YouTube, we copy and paste that link back in to Facebook. So this is the Grease presentation that we did up at the top, or here where it says share, you copy the link. That class just started. Go back to Facebook, And then I would go to the LifeQuest page, or your Shepherd Center page, and then you create a post, and then you just paste the link there, and it appears in a second. And then you can also select the title and rename it, to Grease presentation or class about knitting or whatever the class would be. So
But
it's
if you're-
3 different steps, because you have to download it from Zoom, upload it to YouTube, and then share it on Facebook.
But this is being broadcast on Facebook simultaneously while we're doing our Zoom class. It is a live Facebook, and Zoom gives you that option. I couldn't do it at the very beginning because I wasn't host, but the host of the Zoom meeting, when you press record, it'll also give you an option to go live on It's like a little pop-up menu, live on Facebook.
Okay.
John, I've got a video that I'll be happy to send you that walks through it step by step.
Okay, thank you.
So I think Christy actually used that video and she said she was successful with it. So I'll send it to you. I'm pretty sure I have your email address with all the other Shepherd Centers. So I'll send it to you.
And we've been tinkering with this technology for a solid year. When we had to cancel our classes last March, we offered classes for free so we could figure out how to do the technology. We didn't feel like LifeQuest could charge if we didn't really know what we were doing. We had some very brave instructors who volunteered to be guinea pigs. And we learned over the spring and summer, we're still tweaking it. We're still finding things that we need to do better and how to make it clearer and easier to access for our members. So we're changing things even a year later for this spring. So it is definitely a process. I'm not the techie one. These two are. They've helped me learn, but I've learned a lot, haven't I, Lindy?
I think even today, when Leah watches this, she's like, we do what? We upload it to YouTube and then we put it over there? Oh, who knew?
Now,
So
I have learned how to do that. I can do that.
I'm
I
teasing.
forget, but I learned. What other questions, y'all? And it could be administrative type questions or just regular Facebook questions. What question that comes up a lot, Gina, is, how to find a live presentation. That comes up a lot.
Right, we covered that at the end of the last one. Mhm.
Yeah, but I just don't know if that wouldn't hurt to
Hey,
read.
Gina, also show them the option to have the live button. Some pages have it, some pages don't have it.
I don't know what you mean. Do you want me to stop sharing and you show us?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me.
Sometimes I find it best just to throw it back in your court and go,
Right.
I don't know what you mean by that.
All right. Let me.
Nikki.
I wasn't logged into Facebook, so I want to do that first.
And Susan C., let's be sure we get your questions too. If you want to unmute, or you can write them in the chat if there's something you're confused about on Facebook that you'd like us to try to cover. This is
okay, thank you. I'm following along pretty well.
All right. This is a pretty informal session, so
Thank you.
anytime.
I'm just going to go up here. I'm in my Facebook application and I'm searching for LifeQuest of Arkansas.
Now, what might be confusing for people is that you're logged in as a person LifeQuest of, not as yourself. And so it looks a little different.
We had to create one of those fictitious people because our people were getting confused saying, why is Lindy Harrell going live on Facebook? So we created our person as LifeQuest of, and the last name is Arkansas. So that's actually who I'm signed in today as. But I want to go to our LifeQuest of Arkansas page. So what our page, some pages have this, it's a setting. So we have our setting turned on, but if you'll notice right here, see that live button and it's got a blue dot.
Let me stop you there real quick. This is what a page looks like for an administrator. This is not what it looks like for a user. So this will only apply to people who are the administrators of a page.
Well, even if I sign out, it's still going to show that way, isn't it?
Yes, because even your personal
I'm
accounts.
administrator. Okay. But you will still see this live button. You will see a dot that lets me know that there's something live going on for LifeQuest of Arkansas. So I'm going to click this live. And there is the easiest way to find our live video that's going on right now. I believe it also shows past live videos that we did, but I believe it's always the current live video that is going on that is actually live footage will always default up to the top.
Not every page will have that because the administrator of the page can select which tabs show across the top. So some pages never do live videos and they won't have the word live there. Some pages like AARP may do more events than anything else. So their next tab, and when I say tab, they're not colored like they are on your web browser, or they're just the words.
Actually,
Home,
right here.
live, about. Those are, Facebook calls those tabs, even though they're just words next to each other. So you can edit those tabs as the page administrator, and different types of pages get different options. So since we're nonprofit educational, this is what we've got.
I still want to reinforce the refresh button.
Of course you do.
Since I get
Reload. I'm going to start calling it
reload.
reload though, because everywhere else calls it reload.
the
All
reload
right,
button.
here.
It's an
All
arrow.
right. So
You go ahead.
what Leah is talking about is if you go to Facebook and your intention is to watch a live video, if you get there too early, that live video is not going to populate. And if you sit there and wait and wait and wait, that live video is never going to populate. You have to refresh, or what'd you say, Gina?
Reload.
Reload your page so that all the new things will pop up and you will be able to see it. The way you do that, there's a little circle with an arrow up here. Here is your browser that gets you to Facebook. This is how Leah always says, how do you get to Google? This is how you get to Google. And right to the left of that is a circle with an arrow. If you click that, it reloads your page or refreshes your page. And the most current information for LifeQuest of Arkansas is going to be near the top.
Or whatever Facebook
Or whatever
page
you're
you're
on. Yes, you
And
can
then-
do this on any page. It can be Facebook. It can be YouTube. It can be Kroger. It can be anything that you're going to on your web browser. That is how you will refresh it.
Right. And that circle with an arrow is a button, just like the play arrow is a button on your remote control. It's the same button that's on many different applications, like Lindy was saying. You're muted, Gina.
You're muted.
What I wanted to show with this is Safari. A lot of Macs will use Safari, and their circle is in a different place. It's not on the left. It's kind of in their search bar here. Reload the current page. It's the same icon though. So no matter what browser you're using, it's the same icon. But if someone's giving you instructions and they say, look on the left, but you obviously don't see anything over there because you see, eyeglasses or a plus sign, just go ahead and look on the right or somewhere else. It's usually at the top though. I wouldn't look for it at the bottom. I just wanted to point that out because different people have different browsers that they use.
And one other thing I want to point out, if you're on an iPhone or on an iPad, even though you may be using Safari, you're not going to have that option to refresh like that. Yeah, look at John. He's like, I've got them both. So the way you refresh with that, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we're going to try. So this is my Facebook page.
You can't really see it, but you can see what your fingers are doing.
Okay, so my finger, if I take it and pull it down and let it go, that is going to refresh your page on an iPhone or an iPad.
Do it again. You're sort of,
Hold on, I'm getting a phone connected. It'll be just a second.
so you're pulling it from the top and then letting go, and that refreshes your page.
Right.
Get it. Got it. Can we now?
And I'm glad none of my pimple popper things popped up for y'all to see.
Oh, gross. I We have several people watching on our Facebook page that we're watching currently this live video. And so if any of you have questions or comments, please type them in the comments and I can see them and I'll relay them to Gina and Lindy.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think
Can I ask
Gina's
a
plugging in
question?
her phone.
Go ahead, John.
Okay. The Zoom fills the whole page. I know how to get to, I have a Zoom account and I have family get-togethers and I'm book group
I
head.
can't.
And how do you, I know you can share if I share my screen, it's 100 photos there. How do I get the Facebook up while I'm still in Zoom?
Okay, that's the video that I'm going to send you. It walks you through it step by step.
Okay.
And the first thing you'll have to do is allow your settings in Zoom to access Facebook. So it's in your settings. That'll be the first thing you'll have to do. And then the video that I'm going to send you tells you, you'll be able to stop the video, watch it, find it on your computer, do it, start the video, do the next step, and it'll help you.
And John's asking that question as an administrator of a group. So for those of you who are just private users of Facebook, that's not something you're going to need to do. Let's see if anybody else has questions from Facebook. Can you show your Facebook screen again, Gina?
Yes, I can't show my phone.
Okay.
So I don't have enough USB plugs.
Oh, okay. That's
Here.
You
fine.
want me to do mine?
No, we don't. I think
I can do general Facebook,
Okay.
just not my phone.
um
What would you like to look at?
we'll scroll down a little bit. And can you rearrange? Now, is this yours as an administrator, correct?
This is administrator of the LifeQuest page.
Okay, so we can see a whole bunch of stuff. You know where it says discussion?
On that page, I'm sorry.
No, but where on a regular user, what those tabs at the top, it'll say discussion or notification or something else that doesn't show up because you're an administrator. There it is.
This is
How
a
did you get-
private. This is
Okay.
a private group. This is my daughter's school group. I'm not an administrator of this group. So
Okay.
this is what it just looks like for general.
Yeah.
And so right away, the tabs are different. It shows you the list of people who are also members.
Mhm.
It asks if you want to invite people. We ask that people not invite on our private pages because they have to be a paid member. But I can, look at a list of members also by clicking the word member. I can look at the events by clicking the events. If they had any media, I can see the media there. It's just, this is.
Okay, so my question, I just kind of wanted to see, you usually keep it on discussion because that's the posts
That's the default. That's the
Yeah.
Facebook default that's going to show people.
Right, and so that new activity down below where it says new activity,
Mhm.
that's what
New-
you were talking about, but I wanted to see it in action.
Okay, so new activity is just where people have commented or liked post.
Mhm.
If they show up out of order on their news feed, then it's not necessarily in chronological order.
Mhm.
So what I always do is I change it to recent post. It'll even tell you here, see post with recent comments or see most recent post. If I see most recent post, for instance, on a page that has a live video, the live video would pop up at the top because that's the most current timeline.
I think that's really helpful because if somebody commented on something that happened last year, that if you had it under new activity, that would be the first thing we see. And you're thinking,
Mhm.
well, why am I seeing something from March of 2020? Well, because that comment was recently put on there. But if you want to see the recent posts, that's going to be the most current actual information.
New activity is what Facebook thinks you want to see. no matter if it's on a page or in a group or on your news feed. So even on my news feed, it will automatically go to new activity. And that's where I would instead say, no, I'd rather see most recent, and I'll click most recent. And
Yeah.
then I can see things that happened 2 minutes ago.
I just found that really important when you
There's an
taught
ad.
me. When you taught me that, that cleared up a lot of confusion for me because things were out of order. I didn't want to see. I didn't care what other people said. And I'm talking about my personal Facebook, not LifeQuesters. But
Right, no. Yeah.
I didn't want to. If so, my kid goes to the University of Arkansas. I didn't want to see what every parent said last summer and made a comment about something that happened last summer. I wanted to see the most recent post from University of Arkansas. You know, that was more relevant to me than what other people said months ago. So
On
that
your
was
phone, I've noticed in my iPhone lately that when I start going through my news feed, if I start swiping up, it's not apparent immediately because at first on my phone, I see a place for me to enter a new comment, and then I see stories, and then I start to see the news feed. And if I just keep going down the page, all of a sudden at the top, it will change from, it gives me 3 options: home, favorites, and recent. And again, on my phone, I can select recent, and that's going to rearrange everything to be the most current. So it just likes to hide it in different places.
okay. Well, we've covered a lot in 30 minutes, 35 minutes, mostly with Lindy and I peppering you with questions. Alan, how about you? Do you have a question? Or Christy, do you have a follow-up?
No, actually not for me. I'm fine.
Okay. I want to show everybody something that I don't know they're aware of in our private group.
And notice how
Let's
you're
see.
searching within Facebook, not at the top. You're not searching
Yeah.
the whole internet, you're searching within Facebook. That sometimes is a confusion too.
Mhm.
And that is right next to the blue F.
So I'm going to go into the group. Because we're focused on education, we chose an education type page or group. If you were selling cars, you would pick a different kind of group because they would want to know about prices and that kind of thing. In this kind of group, we can create topics and we can assign topics. So at the beginning of the term, we will create a topic for each of the kind of classes that we're going to have. And then we will tag the post with that topic. So if I want to look on the side over here, it says popular topics in post, and it tracks how many posts have that topic. I can show more, and it's not going to scroll down the right way for me. It's just going to settle. I'll just pick Buddhist art. That's a class title that we had. We had 8 classes, and every time that class happened, I would tag it with Buddhist art. So
How
that
do you
if people,
Christy's asking, how do you tag it?
when you go live or when the video is already done, you'll have these 3 dots that always mean more. You click that and it will say, do you want to add a post topic if you've never done it before? Edit shows up because I have added one. Or sometimes if I want to, I can change it. And you could also have multiple tags in there. I could say this was also a guest speaker, or maybe it's important that people want to look for April, the month. You make these up. And so you can tag them however it makes sense for your group. So sometimes I will, if people are looking for a particular class on a particular day, or that's all they want to see is just about that class, they can just pick that topic over here and look at only those classes. So I picked
I've got
another
a
one.
question about that. When they are pushing from Zoom to Facebook, if they put that in the title, will that also tag it?
No, you have to manually tag them.
Tag it. Okay. All right.
Yeah. When you manually push from Zoom to Facebook, it will, a window on the side will appear, that will say, what's the title and description? I always put exactly the same thing in both places, because if I just put it in the title, it might not show up here, and then people don't know what I'm looking at. I think this is actually the description that shows up.
It is the description.
I put it in both places, and then I go back in and tag it.
So can you click on one of those topics like guest speakers, since there's 10 of them, and let's see what it looks like, what pops up?
It just shows all of the guest speakers that we had at random times, and it shows me the tag guest speaker. It doesn't show the class that, or anybody who's not an administrator of the page.
Okay.
But
does it have the title though? It should, shouldn't it? If you put the title in the description.
Yes. So like
Okay.
this one was atrial fibrillation with someone from Arkansas Heart Hospital. The title is there. When we started this video, this was in the title and the description. And then I added it as a guest speaker.
Okay.
And then we'll, after we make a video go live, if we have someone who can watch Facebook, I'll immediately type in there, if you have questions, type them here and we'll let the teacher know. Sometimes I'll also say, thanks for joining us. Like the video to let us know you're watching, because the more people interact with these, the more they will get further up in their news feed. So even if someone is a member of this group but forgot about a class, it'll pop up in their news feed the more interactions it has. So I just encourage people to interact with the Facebook feeds.
I received a phone call this morning of someone that said, y'all had a class yesterday and I didn't get my email notification about it, but I saw it pop up on my Facebook. So we know it's working. So
yeah. And I hope that LifeQuest members that are watching today or watching the recording, I hope this gives you a little bit of sense of the behind the scenes activity.
There's a reason we have 15 minutes in between classes.
Yeah.
It's because all of this recording and uploading
and manual tagging. I mean, all that
I've been asked, why can't we just go from one class to the next class? I don't need a bathroom break every time. Well, maybe the staff does. Maybe we also need to do some of this behind the scenes dance. It's
as much as it does it for you, you have to tell it where you want things to be. And that's part of what we've tweaked over the last month, or Gina has, so that it can be easier and easier for our members to access. It really, we've done everything but call you on the phone and tell you to get on Zoom. There's just about as much as we can do to make it visible, because online is a new way of doing things. But there is a lot of behind the scenes plate spinning that goes on, and I hope that kind of clarifies why we do what we do for some of our members.
Facebook is huge though, and there's a lot of things to learn about Facebook. So you can always watch a video on YouTube, like I've said. If I'm not explaining myself, go on YouTube, look for how do you tag videos? How do you go live on Facebook with Zoom? How do you change a carburetor in a 2007 PT Cruiser? You can learn anything. You can. There's no reason to hire people. You can do all this stuff.
And he's got a picture of one right there.
Yes,
of a car. Awesome.
That's great.
I bet you learned how to change the muffler or something on YouTube.
Yeah, we have just scratched the surface of Facebook today, but and I hope it's not been too overwhelming. But I really appreciate you, Gina, for teaching, and for all of you for attending. We're very grateful for Gina's expertise, me in particular.
John,
and using it forever. That's all.
If you have questions, please reach out to me.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. I learned a few things.
Good.
Hope y'all can.
It's evolving. It's always changing, and so we're always tweaking and trying to do better, learning something new. So